The chamber of the Galactic Council was built to dwarf intent. It curved outward in impossible geometry, a vast shell of living crystal and ancient alloys, its vaulted ceiling lost behind drifting constellations projected for psychological effect. Every design choice was deliberate. Small species felt small here. Young civilizations felt young. Commander Elias Mercer stood at the center platform and felt none of it. He had reviewed the chamber's specifications months ago. Psychological intimidation lost its edge once you measured it in meters and stress ratios. Around him, the delegates of 37 species occupied their assigned tiers, some floating in containment fields, others seated on stone, liquid, or biomechanical thrones. The oldest among them had watched stars form. The youngest still believed tradition equaled wisdom. At the apex hovered High Arbiter Zalath. Its elongated form was wrapped in ceremonial plating, neural filaments glowing faintly beneath translucent armor. When Zalath spoke, the chamber adjusted acoustics automatically, translating meaning rather than words. "Commander Mercer of Earth," the Arbiter said, "your species petitions for full council integration." Mercer inclined his head, a human gesture that meant acknowledgement, not submission. "Correct." A ripple passed through the tiers. No deference markers. No ritual phrasing. Humans were consistently informal, which the Council catalogued as a flaw. Zalath extended a limb and glyphs ignited in the air, charts, projections, behavioral curves. Humanity has existed as a space-faring civilization for 123 standard cycles, the Arbiter continued. In that time, you have engaged in 6 major internal conflicts, 12 border wars, and 3 technological accelerations that destabilized neighboring systems. Mercer didn't interrupt. He knew the data. He also knew what wasn't there. You innovate without pause, Zalath said. You alter doctrine mid-conflict. You refuse population stabilization. You discard precedent. A pause. Calculated. These traits make you incompatible with long-term galactic equilibrium. A murmur rolled through the chamber. Mercer finally spoke. We adapt because we have to. Zalath's eyes, clusters of photoreceptors, narrowed. That response proves the concern. The Arbiter gestured again. The projections shifted. Human colonies blinked into view, each marked with resource outputs, military potential, innovation indices. You do not wait for permission, Zalath said. You do not stagnate. You escalate. Mercer folded his hands behind his back. So did every species here once. Silence sharpened. Zalath descended slightly, looming. The difference is that others learned restraint. No, Mercer replied evenly. They learned comfort. That earned reaction. Some delegates leaned forward. Others withdrew into defensive fields. The Arbiter straightened. The Council has deliberated. The chamber dimmed. A single symbol formed above the central platform, burning white against the artificial void. Banishment confirmed. The word carried legal weight older than humanity's recorded history. FTL access revoked. Trade corridors severed. Earth designated a non-participatory system. Any violation would be met with enforcement. Mercer read the glyph once. Twice. He felt no shock. Only confirmation. Behind him, the human delegation remained still. No shouting. No pleas. No threats. The Council found that unsettling. Zalath studied Mercer closely. You understand the implications. I do. Without Council hyperspace beacons, your interstellar infrastructure will fracture. Your economy will collapse. Your colonies will starve. Mercer met the Arbiter's gaze. You're assuming we'll stay where you can see us. A pause, brief but real. That will not change the outcome, Zalath said. Isolation will end you. Mercer smiled, small and genuine. We've never ended well when boxed in, he said. So we stopped waiting for boxes to open. The chamber lights flared as the ruling finalized. Security fields activated. The session was over. As the human delegation turned away, Zalath spoke one last time, its tone almost curious. You could have chosen compliance. Mercer stopped at the edge of the platform. We chose survival. Earth felt the decision within minutes. Hyperspace lanes flickered, then went dark. Automated trade schedules failed. Orbital relays began throwing errors no one had programmed. In Geneva, emergency lights bathed the Terran Assembly Hall in amber as data streams collapsed into cascading alerts. Markets froze. Shipping AIs demanded rerouting instructions that no longer existed. President Amina Rao watched the feeds in silence. How long? She asked. A technician swallowed. Hours before secondary systems fail. Weeks before off-world supply chains break down. Rao exhaled slowly. Get me Mercer. The channel opened almost instantly. Mercer stood in a command center already humming with activity. It's done, Rao said. I know. She studied his face. You expected banishment. I planned for it. A beat. What's our move? Mercer turned slightly. Behind him, tactical projections filled the air, shipyards, civilian transports, resource nodes, population clusters. We stop pretending Earth is the center, he said. Rao stiffened. You're talking about abandonment. I'm talking about mobility, Mercer replied. Earth is a symbol. Symbols don't survive sieges. Silence stretched. You're asking billions to leave their home. I'm offering them a future, he said. Fixed positions are targets. The Council thinks cutting lanes cages us. They forgot something. Rao's voice dropped. What? We build our own paths. Within hours, the Exodus Doctrine went live. Orbital shipyards disengaged from planetary anchors. Civilian megastructures powered engines never meant to fire simultaneously. Mining platforms reoriented. Habitats began slow, deliberate ascent. Across the planet, citizens watched the sky fill with light. Not invasion. Departure. Mercer stood at the observation window as Earth rotated beneath the rising fleet. Blue, green, fragile, and no longer alone. A junior officer approached. Sir, long-range sensors show Council monitors holding position. Mercer nodded. Let them watch. Where are we going? He allowed himself a moment before answering. Somewhere they told us not to, Mercer said. That's usually where we do our best work. As the fleet engines charged, space itself seemed to bend in anticipation. The galaxy had closed its doors. Humanity had decided not to knock. The void beyond Earth's orbit was darker than anyone in the Council had imagined. Stars blurred into long, hazy streaks as human vessels accelerated past the former trade corridors, into regions the galaxy's oldest charts marked as uninhabitable. No hyperspace beacons. No patrol routes. No guidance. Only raw, unclaimed space, and human ingenuity. Commander Elias Mercer moved along the bridge of the lead vessel, USS Persephone, observing the synchronized movement of over 12,000 ships. Each was a mobile city, a modular system of engines, habitats, and industrial facilities designed to survive independently if split. In the Council's eyes, these vessels were fragile. In Mercer's view, they were unstoppable. Status report, he said to Lieutenant Mariko Sato, a fleet operations officer with a reputation for precision. All units operational, Commander. Propulsion arrays optimized for extended survival in unstable space. Minor hull stress in several older vessels, but within acceptable limits, she replied, her voice calm despite the fleet's audacity. Mercer studied the live feed of the outer fringe, a nebula of radiation storms and gravitational distortions. The Council deemed it deathly. Humans called it opportunity. Prepare contingency protocols, Mercer ordered. If we lose the supply network, we adapt. If we encounter unknown hazards, we learn. Every failure is data, every danger a lesson. Sato raised an eyebrow. You make it sound simple. It has to be, Mercer said. Complication invites hesitation. We don't hesitate. Across the fleet, civilians adjusted to life in a moving planet. Families transferred from orbital cities to modular pods, engineers reconfigured power grids into self-sustaining loops. AI systems learned new operational parameters in real time. Every individual contributed. There was no downtime, only action. In one corridor of USS Persephone, Dr. Lena Catry, chief geneticist, monitored crews receiving adaptive metabolic modifications. These were designed to endure variable gravity, radiation spikes, and long periods of low oxygen. A young technician whispered, "Doctor, some of these procedures are irreversible." Catry smiled faintly. "Good. Humanity doesn't wait for the perfect world. We become perfect for the world we choose." In the Council's reports, this would read as reckless. In reality, it was survival multiplied by creativity. Days into the migration, the first obstacle arrived, a gravity fracture zone. Subtle at first, tiny distortions in the fabric of space, but enough to threaten navigation. Star maps faltered. Some vessels experienced momentary engine failure. Panic might have ensued if the human fleet had not been prepared. Mercer's voice cut through the bridge comms. "Activate variable resonance drives. Reroute power through secondary coils. Synchronize vessel vectors. We move together, or we move nowhere." The fleet responded like a living organism. Ships rotated, twisted, and accelerated in a ballet of human engineering. Radiation levels spiked, alarms rang, and still, no vessel was lost. In the observation deck, civilians and officers alike held their breath as the Persephone twisted to compensate for gravitational distortions. When the danger passed, the crew erupted into cheers. It was not just relief, it was exhilaration. Humanity had survived what others deemed impossible. Mercer gathered his senior staff in the command lounge. The holographic map displayed uncharted star systems, cosmic storms, and unstable planets. "We're beyond the Council's jurisdiction," he said. "Every system here has been ignored for a reason. Hazardous, unstable, unprofitable. We will make them home." Captain Riantove, head of fleet logistics, frowned. "And if we encounter hostile species?" Mercer's eyes were steady. "Then we'll meet them as humans always have, with adaptability, unpredictability, and strategy no one expects. They fear what they cannot control. Good. Let them fear." By the third week, a Council intelligence probe detected the fleet. Mercer knew its approach. He anticipated the Council's panic, the questions, the assumptions. They would underestimate humans again. Sato updated him. "Sensors show a Council drone approaching at sublight speed. No weapons deployed yet. Likely scouting." Mercer leaned forward. "Let it observe. The galaxy thinks isolation will slow us. They've misread us for a century. Observation will only speed our progress." In corridors below deck, engineers ran simulations, medical teams refined life support protocols, and families adjusted to the rhythm of starbound life. Humans thrived in motion, not stagnation. In the mess hall, an older crew member muttered, "Feels like home already." A young cadet laughed. "Home used to be a planet." The veteran smiled. "Home is where we survive together. That's enough." Weeks passed. Supply chains adapted. Mining modules reconstituted raw materials from cosmic debris. AI learning matrices predicted resource needs before they arose. Humanity became a self-sustaining civilization in motion. Mercer convened a strategy session. The holographic display showed a nebula filled with unstable stars. The Council considered it uninhabitable. Mercer called it the proving ground. "Every obstacle is a question," he said. "Our answer will always be action. If the Council forbade these systems, it's because no one could master them. We will master them anyway." Dr. Catry nodded. "The crews are ready. The modifications are holding. Human physiology is performing beyond predicted tolerance." "Good," Mercer replied. "Then we proceed. Fast. Smart. Together." That night, as the fleet drifted through the first nebula, the lights aboard the Persephone dimmed for a moment of quiet. Mercer stood at the observation deck, gazing at the swirling clouds of cosmic gas and scattered stars. He thought of Earth, blue, fragile, now out of reach. He felt no sorrow, only determination. Humanity's survival did not require a planet. It required the refusal to surrender. A voice interrupted his thoughts. "Commander," Sato said, standing beside him. "Council sensors still monitoring us. They've never seen anything like this." Mercer smiled faintly. "They'll never understand. We don't play by their rules. We write our own." Outside, a fragment of the nebula glimmered against the void. Ships twisted around it in coordinated arcs. Human ingenuity was on full display, not for show, but for survival. By the time the first Council drone attempted interception, the humans had already adapted their navigation, resource distribution, and defenses. The drone withdrew without engagement, its readings incomplete and baffling. Mercer knew the message would spread: humans do not retreat. Humans do not stop. Humans endure where others falter. He turned from the viewport. Behind him, the fleet moved like a living organism, unbroken, unstoppable, and unafraid. The galaxy had closed its doors. Humans had already built their own keys. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It would not underestimate them twice. Weeks after the Exodus doctrine took hold, the human fleet had established a presence deep in the fringe expanse, a stretch of space abandoned by millennia of galactic empires. Radiation storms crackled across sensor grids. Rogue asteroids orbited erratically around collapsing stars. And yet, within this chaos, humanity thrived. Ships moved like living organisms, modular structures reshaping themselves mid-journey, AI-assisted logistics recalculating resource distribution in real time. Commander Elias Mercer stood on the bridge of the Persephone, watching energy signatures flicker on the tactical display. "Commander," Lieutenant Sato reported, her voice taut with alertness. "Long-range sensors have detected a fleet entering the fringe. Standard patrol formations. Council identification confirmed." Mercer's expression remained neutral. "Numbers and type? 15 Dreadnought-class vessels, 6 scout frigates. They're maintaining sublight speeds, scanning for anomalies. No aggression yet." Mercer exhaled slowly. "Good. Let them watch. The galaxy assumes isolation will weaken us. They're about to learn the opposite." The first human response was strategic, not combative. Small scout vessels were deployed to monitor the Council fleet, mapping flight patterns and response protocols. Every observation was logged, analyzed, and simulated within milliseconds. Captain Rian Tove approached the bridge, his brow furrowed. "Sir, they're approaching the Lagrange corridor. If they engage, they'll have tactical advantage in gravitational stability." Mercer nodded. "Which means they underestimate our drives. Ready adaptive thrust vectors. Deploy decoy signals. Let them think they're in control. Then we rewrite the rules." Below deck, engineers worked feverishly. Ship cores adjusted resonance frequencies to counter gravitational anomalies. Weapons recalibrated automatically, linked to AI predictive models that could anticipate Council tactics before the enemy executed them. Humans weren't just reacting, they were shaping reality. When the Council fleet finally made its move, they expected compliance. Dreadnoughts advanced in precise formations, energy cannons ready, shields at maximum. Humanity's response, however, defied expectation. Scout ships darted in unpredictable patterns, drawing fire toward decoy clusters. Capital ships rotated modular armor to absorb blasts, while propulsion arrays redistributed power to maintain acceleration through unstable zones. Energy cannons fired with adaptive targeting, predicting evasive maneuvers moments before enemy shields could engage. Lieutenant Sato reported breathlessly. "They're recalculating. They're trying to adapt to our formations." Mercer's lips curved slightly. "By the time they finish calculating, we'll be elsewhere. Let them chase ghosts." The skirmish lasted hours, though it felt like moments. Sensors tracked energy flares, debris collisions, and localized gravitational shifts as fleets danced in the void. For every Council maneuver, humanity countered with precision and innovation. Every technological edge the Council believed secure became a liability. Aboard the Persephone, Dr. Lena Catry monitored physiological stress levels among crew members. "They're pushing us hard," she said. "Radiation exposure spikes, neural fatigue increasing, but adaptation metrics are off the charts. Humans are outperforming predictions." Mercer turned toward her. "Good. We survive by changing faster than the universe expects. That's our advantage." At the edge of the battlefield, High Arbiter Zaleth watched data streams with growing concern. The Council had relied on centuries of doctrine, predictable strategy, controlled escalation, superiority of firepower over adaptability. Humanity shattered every assumption. "They are evolving mid-conflict," Zaleth muttered, its voice a low hum through comm channels. "Impossible. No species has ever—" A junior officer interrupted. "High Arbiter, they're outmaneuvering us entirely. Shields, weapon synchronization, fleet coordination, all exceed current theoretical models." Zaleth paused. Its neural filaments flared. "Then we adjust doctrine. Engage in standard containment protocol immediately." The command was too late. Humans had anticipated it. Variable resonance drives shifted every vessel's trajectory in microseconds. Council dreadnoughts found themselves firing at empty void, energy blasts dissipating harmlessly in space as human vessels reoriented, accelerated, and struck back with surgical precision. The first Council vessel disabled was a scout frigate, struck by an electromagnetic pulse that had no precedent in recorded engagements. Crew compartments shut down automatically, and the ship's trajectory sent it spinning harmlessly toward a distant asteroid field. "First kill confirmed," Mercer said, his tone devoid of triumph, only focus. "Analyze failure points. Apply lessons fleet-wide." By nightfall, the Council fleet had withdrawn, leaving behind a trail of operational data and damaged vessels. Human ships remained intact, reorganized, and fully functional. Mercer addressed the fleet via secure channel. "They came to contain us. They underestimated what a species willing to survive beyond expectation can achieve. Remember this, we do not fight to destroy, but to endure. Adaptation is our weapon. Unity is our shield. The galaxy has been warned." In the observation lounge, civilians and officers alike absorbed the scope of victory. Children pressed against windows, eyes wide with wonder at the faint glow of damaged Council vessels retreating through the void. Engineers discussed technical improvements. Command staff analyzed engagement protocols for the next patrol. Humanity was learning faster than any simulation had predicted. Dr. Catry whispered to a fellow scientist, "Every defeat for them is a lesson for us. Every mistake, a blueprint for survival." Mercer walked through the corridor, observing his crew in quiet satisfaction. No celebration. No arrogance. Only resolve. Humanity had been tested, and had passed in ways the galaxy could not anticipate. Meanwhile, back in the Council's chambers, Zaleth reported to the other delegates. "They adapt faster than doctrine allows. Their technology is not merely innovative, it is unpredictable. Our containment strategies have failed. Earth, we underestimated them." A murmured agreement swept through the Council. Older species whispered of past civilizations that had collapsed under the weight of time and expectation. None had survived with such rapid, relentless adaptation. Zaleth's final thought lingered, heavy and unsettled. Banishment was meant to contain them. Instead, it freed them. As the Persephone and the fleet continued deeper into the fringe expanse, humans worked tirelessly to fortify, map, and innovate. Every day brought new challenges: unstable stars, rogue comets, and unexpected cosmic phenomena. Every day also brought progress, adaptation, and survival. Mercer looked out at the swirling nebula ahead. "The Council believes the void is empty. They are wrong. It is full of opportunity. And we will take it." The human fleet pressed forward, engines humming, lights glinting against the dark canvas of space. They were alone, yes, but alone meant freedom. Alone meant innovation. Alone meant that nothing could predict, control, or stop them. The first battle was over. The real war, one of endurance, ingenuity, An unyielding human spirit had only just begun. The fringe expanse had become humanity's proving ground. What the Galactic Council deemed a barren, hostile void was now a lattice of human ingenuity, adaptation, and determination. Nebulae that corroded metal for other species were filtered through self-repairing hulls. Gravity fractures that destabilized capital ships were navigated with modular drives recalibrated mid-flight. Even the harsh radiation belts became fuel sources for energy harvesting arrays. Commander Elias Mercer stood on the observation deck of USS Persephone, looking out at the fleet, 12,000 vessels, each a mobile city, each a node in a sprawling, interconnected civilization in motion. The void no longer intimidated them. It defined them. Lieutenant Sato approached, voice steady but charged. Scans show a council patrol is approaching again. For capital ships, 2 scouts, possibly recon for an engagement. Mercer nodded. Let them come. By the time they understand our structure, we'll have shifted 3 steps ahead. That is how humans survive. That is how we thrive. The encounter began quietly. Council vessels approached cautiously, shields raised, sensors sweeping. Humans did not fire first. Observation had been humanity's strongest weapon, and Mercer intended to wield it fully. Captain Rian Tove monitored energy readings. They're cautious, but not cautious enough. Weapons arrays are synchronized for volley strikes. They think predictability protects them. Mercer allowed a faint smile. Predictability is a trap. The human fleet shifted. Variable resonance drives altered trajectories in milliseconds. Shields reoriented to channel energy away from weapons vectors. Automated drones deployed decoys that mimicked fleet signatures, confusing targeting systems. The Council's calculations failed at every turn. The first engagement was tactical genius rather than brute force. Council frigates that attempted flanking maneuvers found themselves isolated, encircled by human vessels that had reconfigured positions mid-orbit. Magnetic pulse arrays disabled weapon systems without destroying hulls. Council dreadnoughts, relying on centuries of doctrine, struggled against adaptive targeting that anticipated maneuvers seconds before execution. Aboard Persephone, Mercer addressed the fleet. We are not here to destroy. We are here to endure, to demonstrate what survival looks like when it is coupled with innovation. Every move, every adjustment, every adaptation, log it, learn it, and evolve. In corridors below deck, engineers and scientists implemented upgrades in real time, reinforcing propulsion arrays, expanding energy grids, and recalibrating AI prediction models. Humans did not react. They adapted preemptively. The Council watched in disbelief as vessels that had been considered superior fell into patterns that exposed their predictability. Energy shields were bypassed with microvector strikes. Navigation systems overcorrected for maneuvers humans had already accounted for. Within hours, the Council patrol withdrew, unscathed but decisively outmaneuvered, their mission incomplete. Zalatha's report to the Council was blunt. Containment has failed. Banishment has not isolated them. They have exploited instability to construct a civilization beyond precedent. Whispers ran through the chambers. Centuries of doctrine, generations of strategic planning, all undone by the unpredictable, adaptable species they had tried to exile. Back in the fringe, humans celebrated not in frivolity but in quiet recognition of their progress. Supply chains were fully functional. Colonies and unstable systems were thriving. Energy harvested from stellar anomalies powered fleets and settlements alike. Humanity had taken the void the Council feared and transformed it into a cradle of civilization. Dr. Lena Katri examined the latest genetic adaptation metrics. Physiological stress thresholds exceeded predictions by 30%. The crew is adjusting to conditions no other species survives in. Our survival mechanisms are improving organically. Mercer stood beside her. This is what they feared, isn't it? Not our strength, but our refusal to remain static. We bend with circumstance. We don't break. Weeks later, a Council envoy attempted to communicate, issuing the same warnings as before: isolation, compliance, and voluntary surrender. Mercer's response was succinct. Your rules do not apply here. Your maps do not limit us. Your timelines cannot contain us. We are humans. We survive. We adapt. And we expand. The envoy withdrew, leaving the humans free to continue reshaping the fringe. In the months that followed, humanity established a network of systems and fleets unmatched in mobility and resilience. Each system was both self-sufficient and connected, a web that could relocate or reconfigure at a moment's notice. Council species, observing from a distance, slowly realized that banishment had not weakened humanity. It had liberated them. Mercer convened his senior staff in the Persephone's command lounge. Holographic projections displayed stellar maps filled with colonies, resource nodes, and fleet paths. The galaxy closed its doors to us, he said. We responded not with fear, but with action. We abandoned Earth not because we had to, but because we could. Freedom is more than absence of restraint, it is the power to shape your own destiny. Remember this, they cannot stop what they do not understand. Sato looked around at the staff. And what comes next, Commander? Mercer's eyes drifted toward a distant, unstable star cluster, already mapped for expansion. Next? We build where others dare not. We thrive where they cannot. And we show them what a species that refuses to be constrained looks like. For the first time in centuries, humans were not defined by planets, trade, or alliances. They were defined by their movement, their ingenuity, and their relentless refusal to accept limits imposed by others. Every technological breakthrough, every adaptation, every settlement in the fringe became a testament to humanity itself. And as the light of distant stars glimmered against the dark expanse, the message was clear. Banishment was the kindest thing the Council ever did. Humanity had not merely survived, they had flourished beyond expectation, rewriting the rules of civilization itself. The galaxy had attempted to cage them. Instead, humanity had built keys. And now, nothing, not doctrine, not history, not the Council itself, could predict where those keys would unlock next. The future belonged to humans. And they were just getting started.